The time is now 5:30. This meeting is now in session. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of the Act, the Perth Amboy Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted at the bulletin board in the administrative headquarters building, mailing notices to the Home Tribune, El Diario La Prensa, City Clerk Cupch, as well as all other persons requiring notification pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law. Mr. Lobrace, can you do the roll call, please?
Mr. Anderson.
Present.
Ms. Crawford.
Present.
Mr. George.
Present.
Mr. Gomez.
Present.
Mr. Marte.
Present.
Mr. Quiles.
Present.
Ms. Velez.
Present.
Vice President Melendez.
Present.
President Gonzalez.
Present. This evening we have some presentations. Dr. Rahman, I'll hand that to you.
Good evening. We're going to begin with a budget presentation for 2025-2026 school year. Before I begin, I'd like to thank Mr. Lebrace and Mr. Velez, Business Administrator and Assistant Business Administrator, for really bringing this balanced budget to the forefront. We have a lot of people that are involved: the Finance Committee, directors, principals, the assistant superintendents, our attorney, and many, many others who helped us to really have a balanced budget during difficult times. So the first slide we're going to share with you is that county and state approved budget fiscally for the year 2026 is what we'll be discussing this evening, and it'll be on the agenda, and tomorrow we'll be going to the county. The budget timeline, take a look at it. We're right there at May 7th, final board approval. And again, submission, final approval budget to the state of New Jersey on time. Thank you, Mr. Lebrace, for making sure that this was done on time. One of the things we wanted to make mention was some key points of things of where the state of New Jersey is, but also where we are as a nation when it relates to school budgets, and what Perth Amboy Public Schools has been able to accomplish, which is monumental if you consider what's really before us. As you can note from the slide, school taxes are expected to rise significantly in many New Jersey communities. It is affecting all 281 school districts. Inflation, declining state and federal aid, 2% cap, all those things have put a strain on the budgets for all districts, leading to discussions of school closures, program cuts, and staff layoffs. I wanted to make mention of that because due to the efforts of the Perth Amboy Public School District and the Board of Education, we were able to not have any school closures, not have any program cuts for the school year, and no staff layoffs, and that's a tremendous, tremendous accomplishment. Some of the headlines that are out there right now, I think they speak of the state of affairs. New Jersey School District wants to hike taxes nearly 33% as it's near its fiscal cliff. School districts proposing cuts to all sports to fix huge financial crisis. Scrambling to close funding gaps, facing a $91 million shortfall. 9 New Jersey school districts are taking desperate measures to keep from going broke. New Jersey school districts lose about $85 million in federal and pandemic aid. Struggling to raise taxes to 36% in some shocking moves. Large school districts will slash 51 jobs as enrollment falls. Tax increases, staff cuts, all over, that's what you see. Here in Perth Amboy, we are actually doing more with less. When we look at the revenue, down. We look at healthcare costs, up. Contractual obligations, up. Mr. LaBrace, anything you want to mention here? No? You multiply that by an outdated school funding model, as all costs continue to rise nationwide and revenues do not, the only alternative is to reduce expenses. We want to speak a little bit about the funding explanation, as there's been different conversations about how is a budget built. Some info on tax levies and local fair share. SFRA is the School Funding Reform Act of 2008. Funding for an adequate education in New Jersey requires that the state should calculate how much a district needs to adequately educate its students, the adequacy of a budget. Local fair share, how much a district can provide through taxes, the local fair share. Equalization aid, the state of New Jersey will make up the rest via equalization aid. Budget, the general formula looks like this: local fair share, equalization aid equals adequacy budget. So when developing a budget, as you can see, the two columns, revenues and expenses. Revenues, state sources, local tax levy, federal sources, other resources equal total available for education. Expenses, salaries, benefits, program needs, operations, security, etc. Those are the expenditures that are needed for education. With the increasing costs such as healthcare, salaries, and utilities placed on us as constant pressures, our mission is to continue to exceed our expectations. I think we've accomplished this with this budget. Again, you're going to hear me say this a few times, but it's important to note. There have been no staff decreases, no programs decreased. We're able to continue next year prudently, but similarly to the way we were able to function this year, while other districts are cutting multitude of programs, multitude of staff members. Budget versus result comparisons. The district has, over the last 12 years, been able to achieve higher test scores, significantly higher graduation rates, receive state and national recognition. We've opened 2 new schools, created several rigorous, well-planned academies for students. This is being accomplished with less funding, and higher expenses. Proud to announce this evening that if you take a look at the 2025, we've been after this and chasing this for a decade. We're going to be hitting 90 with our graduation rates. We believe it's going to be higher than that, but for right now, we can confirm that we're going to be around that mark, tentatively. So the graduation rates of high schools in comparable districts, this is extremely notable, by the way. The graduation rates of high schools in comparable districts to ours range from 54 to 80, with a current per pupil expenditure of $23,000 to $31,000. Compared to Perth Amboy Public Schools, our projected graduation rate is 90.8 graduation, and current per pupil expenditure of $22,432. And this is as per the NJDOE School Finance website. Basically, we spend a lot less and we achieve a lot more. Other districts spend more and achieve less. That's something that this board and this district should be very, very proud of. So the past 11 years, there's been no school tax increase. And here's what it looks like so that we're aware. As you note, it's a decline down. Mr. LaBrace, anything you want to note about this, sir?
So just that as the school tax levy has stayed the same over this time period, the values in Perth Amboy have increased, and that's why you see the decreasing rates. So on each person's tax bill, if they own their home for this many years, you would have seen those rates decrease each year on your tax bill.
So now we're going to talk about the school tax rate increase that will be moving forward with the district this year, and make sure that we explain it very, very clearly. The estimated increased cost to the average taxpayer, average household annual increase, give me one second here, $276.30. Actual tax increase to the average taxpayer from school tax, 3.71%. The average household monthly increase, $23.02. Average household daily increase, 76 cents. Mr. LaBrace, anything you'd like to comment here? No? I think go ahead.
And that's based on an average assessed value of a home in Perth Amboy of approximately $249,000.
Right, thank you. So if you take a look at this snapshot, it's pretty impressive. So that we're clear, the majority of taxes for the Perth Amboy community is a derivative of the municipal local tax, which is 60%, the county tax, which is 15%, and the school tax, which is 25%, significantly smaller than any other revenue that's coming into the district. And the property tax breakdown is there for you to take a look at, and I'll leave it up for a moment. Mr. LaBrace, feel free to comment as you see fit.
That just assumes that there's no increases in other taxes. I'm only highlighting that we're only highlighting there the school taxing for this year.
Property tax breakdown, 2018 versus 2023. What we note here is very significant. Notice what's going up and notice what's going down. Yet we're still delivering higher services than other districts, as per the New Jersey Division of Finance. These are not statements that are being arbitrarily stated by us. This is in the document, the statements from the state. Anything you want to say about this, Mr. LaBrace? No? Okay. So, 11-year history, again, just to show you, state aid increases each year, no tax levy increases, increasing cost. Mr. LaBrace, anything?
So just this slide is to point out that the state aid has increased basically each year. However, the blue boxes on the bottom of the graph are the local fair share, and you can see that that's remained constant.
And so basically, we have not been providing a local fair share, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. As defined by the state. Okay. Mr. LaBrace, you want to just mention this one?
So in this one you can see as the local fair share, the red line on the bottom has stayed constant. The local tax levy is the red line on the bottom, which has stayed constant. The green line shows the local fair share, which the New Jersey Department of Education provides us when they provide our budget. Those numbers have increased, and the space between those lines you can see is actually increasing as well. Moreover, in this budget, you can see that even with a tax increase that we have incorporated into this budget, based on the calculations that the state does for what a district is supposed to have as their local fair share, the gap is actually widening. So what that means is that the funds that we're short or we don't have to spend on the education that the state dictates we should spend is actually getting bigger. It's getting larger, that we have less available to accomplish our goals.
And this slide is really language which speaks about what Mr. LaBrace just indicated, also denotes the graph. Anything you wanted to pull out of this, Mr. LaBrace?
Just that if you look at the right of the screen, it basically just reiterates what we just said, that your adequacy budget is made up of two things: all your aid, federal and state, and then your local fair share. If you're short anything, that's the white on the bottom, which is the we call our budget gap, but it's just funding that we don't have available that should be available to provide education.
Again, in listening to different individuals who continually have asked where is the money or how is the budget designed, this presentation clearly explains all the facets of how the budget's designed and where the money is. Ms. LaBrace, can you please speak about this bank cap? So there's been conversations which needs to be explained here.
So each year, as the budget is approved, you are statutorily allowed a 2% increase. The district hasn't had any tax increases in 11 years, So you were able to carry that over to use in subsequent years. The number on this year's notice when we received our budget for a tax increase that we were eligible for was $27,621,773. So that's basically saying, the state of New Jersey is saying that that's what we're allowed to raise taxes to meet our needs.
Followed by this statement, sir.
Which shows that with the tax increase, the budget gap is still $33 million.
Let's talk a little bit about loss of funds, Mr. LeBrace. Can you just illuminate on these three subjects?
So, based on the last few slides that we saw, as a district does not raise taxes to put in their local fair share, it not only affects that budget, right? Because if you could budget, to throw a number out there, 10 million, but you only budget 8, you're missing that $2 million. That's just one piece of the loss. The other piece is as that gap widens, which we showed you on that graph with the red and green line, as that gap widens, that also affects the formula that calculates your state aid for the following year. And then the third piece that's also based on the same calculation is Title I funding. So by not raising taxes or not contributing our local fair share, we actually affect our revenues 3 times.
An example of that and the cost that we're talking about, if you could just talk about this.
So preschool and costs have increased steadily over years, but yet the last 3 budgets, our state aid for preschool has decreased. Where we used to put in about $6 million from our general fund, which is basically the money that we have set to educate K through 12 students, that $6 million that we used to contribute now became almost $14 million. That means we're taking $14 million out of money that's basically earmarked for K through 12 and spending it on preschool. And again, this is the 3rd year in a row where the aid has gone down.
So those are the complications that we're faced with. In addition, we have taken efforts to reallocate funding to ensure we could have a balanced budget and that all of our staff members remain intact and our programs remain intact while other districts are letting staff members go and cutting programs. We remain fiscally solvent and sound. That does not mean the future is not steep with its own problems, but for right now we were able to ride this tidal wave that was really hitting a lot of schools. So how have we done that? By looking forward and, for example, bringing East and South Campus, as we spoke about 10 years ago, to its conclusion and saving about $1.2 million in rent and utilities. By bringing dual language back to from Ford's back to Perth Amboy next year at Eagle Avenue, as opposed to waiting another year for savings of over $1.4 million in rent, transportation, utilities. Internally, the district has also established systems to closely monitor expenditures, and some of those expenditures we've heard here many times before, such as supplies that were not being utilized appropriately. I could assure you the revenue savings of supplies have saved staff jobs. Inventory controls, monitoring and verifying professional services being provided and billed, reviewed, and reallocation of resources. And this is an important time to talk about how there are no audit findings for Perth Amboy, meaning that we are close to fiscally being solvent in how we're managing the school budget. So thanks to these savings and other additional budget reallocation, the district is able to avoid classroom impact and staff reductions. Conversation that we've often heard is, where's the money? Well, there's the money. So we should not be hearing about where's the money. It's right here in front of you. Mr. LeBrace, please speak to this about how these line items and what the changes mean. Equalization aid, miscellaneous, all that.
So this is just a slide that breaks down where all the revenues come from. It basically goes back to those first few slides where we saw the budget and revenues and the expenditures. State aid, including preschool aid, is the first line, the first group there, $246 million. Then there's miscellaneous revenues. Miscellaneous revenues are interest on money on deposit in banks and other refunds. We were able to have a $3 million surplus that we carried over, that we were able to carry over into this year's budget, which helped a lot. And then the local tax levy with the increase. And then the bottom part is your Fund 20 revenues, which is the preschool, part of the preschool expenses, not all of it. Title I, that's an estimate. We will find out our final Title I numbers in June. And again, that number may go down, and then we would have to adjust the budget again and bring it back to the board.
And as you can see, very transparent for everyone to see. The expenditures, comparisons, 25, 26. You could just briefly denote some of the highlights here.
So this just compares the benefits is the big savings. We were looking at a large increase in health benefits. Imagine if that number was $27 million higher, then we would have had that $27 million would have came out of the rest of these lines here from somewhere, and I think that's just important to note. So what we're undertaking with health benefits is a big part of why we're able to accomplish what we're accomplishing this year, and it should carry over to subsequent years, hopefully as well.
So what's next? This evening, board approval, begin coordination process for the health benefits transition for a savings of
$27 million.
$27 million, which was necessary due to decades of not ensuring that health benefits were appropriately allocated within the district. Is that fair to say, Mr. LeBryce?
Yes.
Disseminate necessary information to staff for a seamless transition of that, which you've been doing a great job of. Continue to prepare for the future and provide exceptional education and programs for all students. I want to end where I began by thanking so many people. First and foremost, the business office, the assistant superintendents, directors and principals that were involved in this, our Board of Education that is actively involved through its Finance Committee in bringing forward not only a balanced budget but a fair budget to the taxpayers' community, our attorney who keeps us guided in what we're doing. And as I noted, we're about to embark upon 90% graduation rate, which is a phenomenal task for all of us, for our staff, for our students, for this community. And the average household annual increase, so that we're clear, for all that we're getting, the academies, the continuation of keeping all of our staff, our programs, $276.30, and that's the first time in 11 years. So, Mr. LeBryce, am I missing anything? Finance Committee or board members, anything you'd like to expand upon, or any questions that you may have at this time? Don't feel that you're being forced to, but I do want to thank you for your work, those late hours, in being involved and looking at everything and really being dedicated to bringing forward a balanced budget. I cannot say this enough. You see what's going on in the state, in the nation. Teachers are losing their jobs, administrators are losing their jobs, staff are losing their jobs, programs are closing. None of that has transpired at Perth Amboy Public School Districts, and that's due to the effort of all of us collectively. So thank you.
I have a question. In the 24 districts in Middlesex County, where does Perth Amboy rank in terms of state aid? Are we 5th, 12th? Where are we in terms of the 24 districts in Middlesex?
Mr. LeBryce, I'm not sure that.
I would have to look that up, but I would say we're probably in the top 4 or 5.
Top 4 or 5. And do you have a number for the amount of state aid we're going to get this year? Because I missed it on there. It was a little too quick.
It's the 246, 366, 489.
That's the state aid?
That is all the state aid minus the extraordinary aid, which is separate, and the semi. So you'd have to take that $2,352,000 out of that.
Okay. So take $2,352,000 out. How much federal are we getting?
We won't know till June. We're estimating the same as this year, but there is a chance, based on news that we're getting, that it's going to go down. $2.2 million for Title I.
2.2.
That's included in this budget, yes.
Okay. And just two other questions. Since we're, as you say, we're in the top 5, probably in Middlesex County, what % of increase did we get from the state? You have any idea?
So the net state aid increase was about $4 million.
But, I mean, percentage-wise.
So 4 million of the 240, maybe 2%?
Two something.
Doing quick math.
And how much is our local fair share in terms of millions?
26 million?
That's all I have for right now.
Any other questions, comments?
I have some comments.
Okay.
Well, right away, Mr. LaBraze, you kind of held to what I was going to say, and that is that, first of all, you seem to always have the information, and I just want to say thank you for that. You do a great job when it comes to the budget. One thing I could tell everybody here is this: if you ever want to learn something about an organization, just look at their budget. The budget's going to tell you mostly everything you need to know as far as how money is spent, what they're doing when the money was coming in, was coming out. And I could honestly say that my time here so far, I could say that this administration definitely is very careful as to how the money is not spent, but how it is invested. And I want to say thank you for that. One thing that this budget specifically, that I saw with my own eyes, that they took in consideration a lot, was staff. We didn't talk too much about painting buildings, doing this for buildings. So much, it was mainly staff. Like, how can we keep the right staff in our school district? How can we make sure that we don't lose any staff? And for that, I want to say thank you, because coming into the Board of Education, one of my main concerns was staff. And I have seen with the last, I cannot say the last 2 years, because last year I wasn't as involved. But as I've been back, I could see how the administration is constantly, bringing up staff of what a great job they're doing, whether it's coaches, security staff, teachers, principals. And I just want to say, I want to continue seeing that. I could see how this administration, little by little, is working towards bringing the right people into our school district. And I could see with the budget, the job that was done this year, this is probably the most I've seen since I've been here. The amount of time that was put into. People don't see it, but I could tell you right now, this administration, especially Mr. LaBraze, there's a person that's constantly working here. Days off, missing events with family, just to take care of these things, because he cares about this stuff, not just you, but the whole administration. So I just want to take the time to say thank you for taking, obviously you're doing your job. I get it's part of your job, but you guys are doing it well when it comes to the budget. I see it in my own eyes, so thank you for that.
We appreciate that. I would like to mention that Mr. LaBrace is so dedicated that it's here today on his birthday. So this is his birthday present to do the budget presentation. That's how near and dear it is to his heart.
One other question, may I ask? I'm sure you said it. I think it went right by. Was it the local tax revenue increase is 10%?
The local tax increase is 15%. It's 3.7% to the taxpayer.
All right, so we're asking local taxpayers for an increase of 15?
15% is the increase in the local tax levy.
Okay. And that results in $276.30 per year, or is that per quarter?
Based on a average assessed value of $249,000. $276 per year would be the estimated average increase.
Thank you.
At an average household daily increase of 76 cents, and you to take that, divide that by 11 years, 7 cents.
I did want to add as well, going off of some of what Lewis was saying. As the saying goes, show us your budget and we see your values, right? Education as a whole right now is in a really challenging position. As we look at the landscape federally and on the state level, a lot of things are up in the air. So I know as a member of the Finance Committee, one of the things we really stressed was ensuring that we're future-proofing this budget. so that we can ensure what is our, I think, our core value, which is ensuring that students are well instructed, that staff are supported, and that's what we did our best to support here, and with the administration worked super hard. And again, I have to say also, as a new addition to the board, there was a lot of and the presentations were extremely detailed. There was a ton of transparency, so I really want to stress that. And again, thanks the administration for their work and ensuring that we're reaching towards having a balanced budget here. Oh, and actually, I did also want to ask one more general question. You know, I don't think the school funding formula ever tells the whole story. Lots of us in education have a lot of issues with it, right? I mean, I don't know if this is entirely something I should say in this way, but I'm just going to say it. A lot of times, the way these things are put out to the public in terms of what increases are happening, what decreases are happening, you know, it is intended to present the government in a good way, but it does not tell the whole story. And I know we had some discussions about that. I don't know how much detail that you guys are able to go into right now, but if you could sort of speak to, you know, yes, we did receive an increase in state funding, but there were other caveats to that. So I don't know if we can speak to that a little bit right now.
Looking at Ms. LaBrace and I, and we've all had this conversation, where is it? The school funding formula is antiquated. I think we've all heard that. It does not take into consideration various communities and what's needed, and especially when you're talking about things like multilingual learners that require different types of funding. When we talk about a community that has needs, that have parents that are working late, and children that need to stay in school later, and the funding formulas don't account for that. Preschool is another demoralizing factor of the school funding formula from the state. We are funded. How outdated are we funded with the money that we should be? Not just us, everyone.
So to your point, and to Mr. Anderson asked before, the total net increase in state aid was about $4 million, yet just in personnel costs between salary and benefits, the increases were almost $8 million.
Double.
So all things being equal, we already start off -4 with the increase. I mean, and then it goes from there with all the other utilities. I mean, we were told and we were ready for it and we had a budget, but utilities, especially electric, is a 25% increase.
And the preschool factor of how much allocation we're receiving.
So we receive this year a little less than 18 million, and we're spending all in with special education and all the services provided about 34 million.
So now you think about that, that's an important conversation because we're okay right now. But next year, if that continues and we don't get resources, how long can we continue to fund $35 million worth of services and receive half of that to have a program running? We believe it's important because it's preschool and it's the beginning stages for students. But those are the decisions, and we're not out of the red for the future. We were able to maneuver that for this year, and I think it's quite an arduous lift that we did this year when you think about what's going on everywhere else. But if they don't change the school funding formula, we are going to have problems in future years, decades to come, not just Perth Amboy Public School District, but every single school district. The norm will be closing buildings, the norm will be closing programs. A lot of affluent communities are doing that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And if I could add, I think one of the things that keeps coming up, right, when you think about raising taxes and who we are as a board and what we have to vote on and for. And we need to vote on things that support our kids and our students and their futures, right? And we're all a community and they are our future. And we need to make sure that every household here is providing that future for our students, right? We're about to lose probably a bunch of Title I funds, right? We have a new administration who's attacking our school districts. We need to protect ourselves that way. And I think even more interestingly, one of the things that I learned was how not raising taxes in all this time has served as a detriment to us, right? It's great politically to say, hey, we're not going to raise taxes this year. That's a great thing to be able to say, but it is our job to be fiscally responsible. And it's our job to make sure that all of our needs are being met to the best of the abilities, right? And that means a community contributing to their school district and to their kids. So decisions aren't easy, but we were getting penalized. The state funding formula looks at how much our community contributes to the cost of the students, right? So if we're not doing our local fair share, they will also penalize us. So we've been penalized on top of what the funding formula was because we were not ever raising taxes. And we sitting here at this time, you know, we can't do that to our school district and we can't do that to our students. And again, we have an administration who cares about that. We have people here who are fair and transparent and teach us these things and present and present and present. And I don't know, we did the responsible thing and they continue to do the responsible thing. And I just want to say thank you again for caring that much.
It's our pleasure. We're going to move on if there's no other further comments or questions on some other presentations. Interestingly enough, we're going to be talking about the dual language school plan. Ms. Liline Cruz Arjamel, Director of Bilingual ESL and World Languages. Then will be followed by graduation requirements policy, which the board approved. By the way, that brings efficacy to this district, the graduation requirements. Having the students of Perth Amboy have to exceed the expectation for requirements that other districts do not because of a fallacy that we need to keep them in school, they can't be trusted outside to move forward. And that's how it began over a decade and a half ago. It speaks volumes about, I guess, what this board has been doing, whether it's the budget, whether it's bringing graduation requirements to the forefront, and that'll be spoken to by Ms. Caitlin Tavalt, Director of School Counseling and Related Services. And the last presentation that we have today is, on top of all this, we're having summer school. We have budgeted for summer school. Dr. Medina, a phenomenal educator, assistant superintendent, and Mr. Rodriguez, the assistant superintendent, have worked very carefully with Ms. Jamie Richardson to ensure, the Director of Curriculum Instruction, forgive me, and Dr. Courtney Pepe, Director of Instructional Technology, to ensure that our students don't miss a beat from the end of the school year into summer school, right back into when we begin early September. So, to all of our presenters, thank you so much for your diligence and foresight in doing this.
Good evening. Muy buenas noches. Our dual language school next steps for the 2025-2026 school year. We will return home to Perth Amboy and will be temporarily housed at 300 Eagle Avenue. The dual language school will continue to serve only students in grades 4 through 6. Preparations at 300 Eagle Avenue have begun. Dual language school will eventually move to a permanent location within the district in the 2026-2027 school year. Our preparations at 300 Eagle Avenue include a deep cleaning, painting, furniture upgrades where and when needed, and identification of instructional spaces. We begin the scheduling process for 2025-2026 with the layout of 300 Eagle Avenue with new room assignments. We're planning for an open house to take place in August of 2025. and in alignment with state law, only students who resides more than 2 miles away from the school will be eligible for transportation. Thank you.
Oh, communication will be going out to parents, community tomorrow or Friday, the latest. We're finalizing this process so that there's an ease of transition from Fords back to Perth Amboy. Another milestone when we did this, if you recall, when we did this because we had no space in Perth Amboy. Not only did we take this program to Fords, but we became a recognized dual language school, which the state continually sends people to take a look at. So now that we're going to be bringing it back home, because I know there's a lot of different misinformation out there, now that we're going to bring it back home, we're going to start looking at different ways of how to really project this program even further, whether it's maintaining it or whether it's enhancing it. But this is not something that we are ever planning on getting rid of. As you recall, we developed, created, established, and now it's coming back home. Dr. Medina, sir.
I also want to add, Dr. Roman, that I know we share the good news, but now you can see the badge showing dual language school being recognized as best elementary and middle school in the state of New Jersey, 40 top performing schools in the state. And this is done by the U.S. News World Ranking report based on schools' standardized assessments. So congratulations again for the achievement DLS, dual language school.
We didn't seek this in recognition, by the way. They came to us. We should send this out also, Dr. Medina, to the parents as well to make sure they're aware in a flyer. So the next presentation is Katie Tavalt, a Director of School Counseling and Related Services regarding graduation requirements.
Thank you, Dr. Rahman. Good evening. Beginning in the 2025-2026 school year, the Perth Amboy School District will align the district graduation policy 5460 with the New Jersey Department of Education graduation requirements starting with the class of 2026. As per the NJDOE, the graduation requirements, a student in New Jersey can be granted a high school graduation diploma with the shown content area credits of 120. A student is encouraged to take additional courses throughout their 4 years of high school in Perth Amboy, however, and this will continue to be offered to all of our students. However, they will not be penalized, and our policy will align with the state requirements. Benefits to this change is that students will continue to receive a high level of education and guidance throughout their high school experience and be offered 40 credits per school year, as they are now. They will continue to have access to enroll in the same number of credits per year throughout their high school career. If adversity or extenuating circumstances occur, students will have the opportunity to retake courses and also receive support throughout our school district. Aligning district policy with state requirements allows students the opportunity to stay in school and have time to make up credits if and when needed. Students can also be rewarded with high-level electives, AP dual enrollment courses, and even early work release. Equity, access, and success continue to be our priority on the road to all of our students' education in achieving their high school diploma. Thank you.
This is a game changer. This is a game changer. Equity for our students, we have leveled the playing field. Our students are no longer to be held at a higher standard than no one else is being held at for arbitrary and capricious reasons. This is a game changer. Kudos to the Board of Ed. Dr. Medina, we need to also make sure we send this out to the community as well, letting them know. You may be hearing cheers on the street from this one. If you're a student, definitely. Our next presentation is Ms. Jamie Richardson, Director of Curriculum and Instruction, and Dr. Courtney Pepe, Director of Instructional Technology, two hard-working, intelligent leaders in this district talking about Summer School 2025.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Courtney Pepe, and I'm going to be speaking to you tonight about the various programs we are offering in the summer of 2025, and I am joined by my colleague, Ms. Jamie Richardson. The children of this district are our stars, and it is our job as educators to ensure that our stars shine. And our stars will shine brightly this summer with the variety of programs being offered for our students. These are a sample of our elementary school programs. They support various interests and abilities so that all students can grow and succeed. We have programs for multilingual learners, students with IEPs, gifted and talented students, dual language students, and students in need of foundational skill development. In our summer STEAM program, students will experience coding with AI and robotics. If you recall, last month at the Board of Education meeting, we announced a new Creative Arts Academy that will launch in the fall of 2025 here in this building. Our summer theater program is an example of the pipeline and programmatic articulation that will support the growth of this new academy program. Our show this summer is going to be The Wizard of Oz. We hope to see you there.
This is the list of programs we are offering at the middle and high school level. Please note that the extended school year program will be offered to qualifying students in grades pre-K through 12 based upon their IEP. Benefits of our summer programs include academic achievement, exploration of interests, social development, emotional well-being, and a safe environment for our students over the summer. Thank you for your time and attention, and we look forward to a great summer with everyone. Thank you.
And that concludes our presentations. We're going to be flooding emails, website, app, parents, community with all three different presentations as it relates to what's taking place next year. Correct, Dr. Medina? Thank you. Madam President, that's all.
Meeting open to the public discussion of agenda items and non-agenda items. There will be only one public participation session at this meeting. At this time, comments are invited on any matter. Public participation shall be governed by policy number 0167. Anyone wishing to address the board, please state your name, municipality of residence, and group affiliation. Each statement made by a participant shall be limited to 3 minutes. No participant may speak more than once on the same topic until all others who wish to speak on that topic have been heard. All statements shall be directed to the presiding officer. No member of the public may address or question board members individually. Although the board encourages public participation, it reserves the right, through its presiding officer, to terminate remarks to and/or by any individual not keeping with the conduct of a proper and efficient meeting. The board discourages the public from speaking negatively about any employee, administrator, or student. Individuals can be held personally liable for defamatory or libelous statements made at public meetings. The board bears no responsibility for comments made by members of the public. Comments regarding employees, administrators, or students cannot be legally responded to by any member of the board or administration.
President of the Perth Amboy Federation. I would just like to circle back to my comments from the last board meeting about the need for more homeschool liaisons and more secretaries to assist with the chronic absenteeism problem we have in this district. If you're not aware, districts are required to report chronic absenteeism rates for each school to the New Jersey Department of Education. Schools with chronic absenteeism rates of 10% or higher must develop corrective action plans to help get students to go to school every day. I believe many of our schools have chronic absenteeism rates over 10%. Last year, it was reported that Patton School had a chronic absenteeism rate of 30%, and that's before the district cut staff and eliminated busing. I'm certain that many of the schools are on corrective action plans based on chronic absenteeism. Schools create the corrective action plans, and districts are responsible for ensuring compliance with the law. A corrective action plan sets goals that the school must achieve. Schools can send surveys to parents to try to find out why certain students are not going to school. Student absences can be the result of transportation issues, could be unusual work hours that the parents have, and it could just be that the student is low achieving and feels lost in school. Whatever the issue is, the school needs to find a way to help the student. A school can't just blame the students or their parents for the students not going to school. That's just not how public education works. Based on the results of the parent survey, the school develops strategies to help get students back on track. The strategies generally involve frequent contact with parents, a lot of problem solving, and a lot of data collection. This is where homeschool liaisons and additional secretaries would be invaluable. If 30% of school students are chronically absent, there's a need for more hands on deck. Districts also must report their school's chronic absenteeism rates to the federal government as part of the Every Student Succeeds Act. Also circling back to comments at last month's board meeting where someone expressed displeasure with our teams not winning. Sometimes it's participation in a sport or another school activity that actually makes students want to come to school. Playing a sport or participating in a club makes kids feel connected to each other and to something bigger than themselves. Winning would just be icing on the cake. Thank you.
Josiah Santa Maria, District Representative for the Perth Amboy Federation. I usually try to begin all my speeches with a positive sentiment, but honestly tonight I'm finding that to be too difficult. What I want to talk about tonight is the rollout of the new healthcare plans, and in particular the info sessions that took place on Monday 5/5 and today 5/7. I attended the first session on 5/5 at 4 p.m. because, like many of our staff, I had questions, and I felt the best way to help my colleagues in answering questions in the future would be to attend the first session. Once the session began, it became clear it was less about answering lingering questions and more about these insurance carriers peddling their wares to the staff. The promised Q&A part of this quickly devolved into chaos. It was nearly impossible to distinguish who was from the insurance carriers and what questions they were attempting to answer from the staff. And some of the answers they were providing to our staff were just wrong. During the first session, the insurance carriers continuously told staff to figure out what they would be paying based on a calculator, which is based on the premium. This calculator was also sent out by the district, which only added to the confusion. We don't pay based on the premium, but rather on our contributions. Our contributions are based on a percentage of our salary. From what I was told today, these mistakes have been rectified, and Mr. LeBrace has been quite responsive to many of the staff's emails, and I appreciate that. While I understand the necessity of this change to the state plan and how it will help save money for the district and ultimately keep staff members, but we need to do better by our staff. I know that when I leave this podium, someone will proceed to contradict what I'm saying by claiming these sessions were a huge success, but the amount of phone calls, texts, and hundreds of emails I have received in the last few days would paint a very different story. Our staff needed guidance, and this fell short of that mark. Thank you.
Okay, there's no one else coming to the microphone. Dr. Pepe, is there anyone online?
Yes, thank you. I do have people in the remote. Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Pepe. I'm the IT director. I'm going to be moderating the remote public portion of our meeting tonight. For those of you who wish to speak, we are going to be using the raise your hand feature in Microsoft Teams. For those of you calling in remotely, to raise your hand, press *5 and then follow the system prompt to unmute. Remote participants will hear a beeping sound when their 3 minutes are up. I do not have any hands up in the remote session. Thank you.
I need a motion to close public comments.
Motion.
I second. So moved. Public comment session is now closed.
Madam President, one thing before we go into exec. The previous demarcation of statements, again, is without validity. We've received, Mr. LaBrace received countless amounts of thank yous. We're not going to please everyone. He and the district have done an outstanding job in procuring over 300 jobs being saved by going forward with this health benefits plan. There'll be different moves that have to happen. Everyone won't be satisfied with every single question, but I know for a fact he's answered, Mr. LaBrace has answered every single question from every single staff member. That was negated and purposely not stated to bring about falsehood to what has taken place. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ramon. Whereas pursuant to NJSA 10:4-12B, the Board of Education may exclude the public from that portion of a public meeting wherein the board discusses any of the matters set forth at NJSA 10:4-12B1 through 9. Now therefore be it resolved that in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Act, the Board of Education shall conduct a closed session pursuant to the provisions of NJSA 10:4-12B for the purpose of discussing the following matters: personnel and matters covered by the attorney-client privilege. It is anticipated that the length of time of this executive session will be 60 minutes and that action may be taken in public after the executive session. Can I have a motion to enter executive session?
Motion.
Second.
So moved. The time is now 6:27. Thank you. The time is 7:42. We need a motion to close executive session.
Motion to close? Second.
So moved. Mr. LaBrace, can you give us our amendments and revisions, please?
So there's no amendments or revisions, and I'm going to put out an addendum right now.
Thank you. Approval of minutes of regular meeting held and approval of executive session minutes of meeting held on April 10th, 2025. Approval of the bills list for May 8th, 2025 and the following payrolls: April 15th, 2025 and April 30th, 2025. I need a motion.
I'll motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Correspondence. Okay, the board secretary report, Mr. LaBrace, please. Would you like to do correspondence first?
So there's no correspondence for the board. And then reports, report of bid opening. We had a computer hardware disposal bid. GDI Trading, 10,200. Ketan Patel, 10,000. Anthony Godwin, 6,000. Trung H. 5,555, Trung HR 3,333, and Trung HR 1,111. Secretary Monthly Financial Report for March 2025, Treasurer's Report for March 2025. Total government funds, beginning balance $43,583,343.85. Cash receipts $52,238,848.44. Cash disbursements $51,922,156.69 for an ending cash balance on March 31st of $43,900,035.60. Acceptance of the reports of the Secretary and Treasurer as submitted and as being in agreement for the month of March 2025. Acceptance of certification from the Board Secretary that no major line item has been overexpended for the month of March 2025.
Thank you, Mr. Lobrace. The Board of Education would like to extend its sincere condolences for the following. In the Administration Building, Marisela Hernandez, sister. Cruz Center, Nicole Gangley, sister-in-law. Patton School, Marta Velez, brother-in-law. Hemeleski Center, Rosa Navas, mother. Antonia Gutierrez, husband. Rose Lopez, Rafael Gonzalez, brother. Willand School, Vidal Gonzalez, brother. High School, Sonia Maldonado, father. Jose Batista Peña, brother. We'd also like to extend our sincere condolences and acknowledge the passing of Miss Joanne District, who served our district as a teacher since 1991, passed away on April 16th, 2025. Ms. Judy Colonna, who served our district as a secretary from 2000 until her retirement in 2019. Ms. Colonna passed away on April 18th, 2025. Again, our sincere condolences. I would just like to take a minute to also just express our sincere appreciation for teachers during this Teacher Appreciation Week. I know we also had Paraprofessional Week not too long ago, and of course I'd like to also wish everybody a happy Mother's Day. Mr. Lobrace? Dr. Roman?
I have nothing for this evening. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to our agenda items. Mr. George, the Curriculum Committee.
Yes, I'd like to move item number 1 on page 4 to item 6 on page 4.
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. I need a motion to pass items number 1 on page 5 to, I believe there is up to number 12 now on page 8, including the addendums. Mr. Lobrace, can you do the roll call, please?
Discussion?
I need a second first.
I second.
Any discussion?
Yes, just briefly in reference to item number 2, I want to say to all our retirees, may your retirement be happy, healthy, long, prosperous, and peaceful. I want to thank them for many years of service in our school district, and in particular, I always call out to try and highlight the people that I had the opportunity to work with and their unwavering dedication in every aspect of their career to the children of Perth Amboy. Lucio DeMarzo, Vivian Irizarry, Ms. Zulin, and Ms. Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Anybody else? Mr. LaBrace, can you do the roll call, please?
Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Ms. Crawford,
Yes.
Mr. George,
Yes.
Mr. Gomez,
Yes.
Mr. Marte. Yes. Mr. Quiles,
Yes.
Ms. Velez,
Yes.
Vice President Melendez,
Yes.
President Gonzalez.
Yes. Personnel is moved. Vice President Melendez, can you do the Finance Committee, please?
Madam President, I would like to move item 1 on page 9 to item 19 on page 12.
Motion.
I second.
Any discussion?
Discussion. This is in reference to item number 3. This is for the PTO. I just want to thank them for their dedication, that their tireless efforts behind the scenes have made a tangible difference in our lives of our students and the success of our schools. From organizing events and fundraising initiatives to fostering a sense of community and supporting our educators, your contribution is invaluable. Your commitment to collaboration, communication, and the well-being of the school family is truly appreciated. You are the unsung heroes who help bridge the gap between the homes and the schools. And these moms, guardians have done such a remarkable job, just creating these events. And I just want to really tell parents, attend them, support them by attending. We have the Richardson School making a movie night and a staff appreciation lunch at Shell School. Flint School's doing a remarkable job with the end of the school year dance, their concessions, their field day for T-shirts, and then my favorite, the Perth Amboy High School with their senior sunset. So, it takes a lot of effort, for these parents to not only create them, but to host them and to get parents in this community to be engaged. So I ask you, please try to participate, and I just wanted to honor and thank these parents for their efforts.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. Any other discussion?
Yes. Madam President, one other item. In the governor's address to the state of New Jersey, his budgetary address, he stated that he will give more funding to districts that raise taxes above the state's 2% property tax cap. At this time, do we have any idea how much additional funding we would get? And if we don't know, could we have a report on that since we're going up 15%? And this is from the governor's office.
I'm going to have Mr. LaBrace look into that, and we'll get back at our next meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Mr. LaBrace, I'd like to have my vote on number 18 recorded as no and 19 recorded as abstention.
Okay, so moved. Now to Buildings and Grounds, Mr. Quiles.
Madam President, I would like to...
Hold on a second. We need to, Mr. George and Ms. Crawford, you need to abstain from number 18.
Okay.
So if you're okay,
Abstain
we'll
for number 18.
just make sure that's noted.
You have to abstain.
Yeah, I abstain
Right,
for
and Mr.
number
Anderson,
18.
yours got to be an abstention as well, not a no.
Okay, we'll have to change that to abstention because I guess there's a conflict.
Correct.
And it is so moved. Mr. Quiles, Buildings and Grounds, please.
Madam President, I'd like to abstain from items A through H and approve items I through S. So,
Move it.
I'd like to move items I through S, and abstain from items A through H.
There's an A through Z. So with the addendum, there was an addendum at executive session, and Mr. Keeley's,
A through Z, sorry.
that's okay. Any discussion?
No.
Did somebody second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Okay, now for old business, moving on. Second reading of the following policies and regulations. Policy number 2419, policy number 1523, policy number 1550, policy number 2260, policy 2411, 2415, 2421, 3211, 5111, 5116, 5200, 5512, 5570, 5751, 5842, R2520. I need a motion, please.
Motion?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. New business? Approval of the revised 2025 to 2026 school calendar. I need a motion.
Motion?
So move it. I defer.
I need a second.
I'll be
Second.
the second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So moved.
Madam President, before we adjourn, I just got a text here from my neighbor who's been fighting cancer, who's a maintenance worker for our school district. And he just had a major stroke. And I ask you to keep him in your prayers. By the way, his name is Harold Zayas.
He's in our prayers. Thank you, Mr. George. Any other new business?
Same thing with me. Before we close, I just want to say that last week we had an executive, we had a meeting for the athletic committee, and I just want to say I was very pleased with the conversation that went on there. I hope that going forward, this is something that continues happening. As you know, as an administration, board of education, we're here, we're listening to the community, and we're the best interest in the community. With that being said, big shout out to the girls softball team for winning their division. Very proud of them. A lot of credit goes to their coaches, obviously, to Mr. Velez, and I want to give a big shout out to the city of Perth Amboy. As throughout the years, I see how softball has been growing in this community. Big shout out to Juan Martinez, Rogelio Estevez, to Coach Jeter, and Kenny Ortiz, all those members of the community that continually are volunteering their time to making our programs a little better. And you could see how, when it comes to sports specifically, as a school system, if we work with our city, we're going to get results like that, like the softball program, like the basketball program. I keep saying it, we have the talent in this community. Yeah. We just have to work together, and we have to continue working hard in order to see the product. So thank you again, and big shout out again to the softball team.
Yeah, I would also like to give a shout out to the softball team. They had an amazing record, 11-1, and winning the blue division. So shout out to the coaching staff, the family, that dedicate their time and effort to these kids, wonderful kids, and hopefully next year we'll keep moving forward and bring that champion back.
Mr. Gomez.
And before we close, I do want to further observe Teacher Appreciation Week. In public discourse today, there's a lot of confusion, I think, about the fact that education is a right, and it's our teachers who really ensure that every student is afforded the opportunity to get their education, they're afforded dignity, they're afforded support. And so I just want to take some more time to dwell on showing appreciation. So thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Gomez. I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The meeting is adjourned. It is 8:01. Thank you, everybody.